Now let us start unit 2. I am repeating uh, the instruction that listen to the audio. It is always lovely on the big half moon in summer. In the introductory paragraph, we have seen that the narrator, along with his family members, had to go to the mainland during the winter because the big half moon island was uninhabitable during the winter. But here we get the idea that during the summer, the big half moon was a pleasant one. When it is fine, the harbor is blue and calm with little wind and ripples. You know that calm is when the harbor or the port is uh, fine, it is blue and calm, or in other language, blue and calm atmosphere regarding the harbor indicates the fine weather, not inclement surrounding, with little wind and ripples. Here the sentence is somewhat negative. It indicates that there was very small wind and ripples. Ripples means small wind in the sea. Every summer we had some hobby. So during the summer, during every summer they had a fascination of executing their hobby. At last, the last summer before Dick and Mim came, it is here evident that during the last summer before the arrival of Dick and Mimi, you also know that Dick and Mimi were the narrator's cousin. We were crazy about kites. They had a madness regarding the kites. A boy on the mainland showed Claude how to make them. That is, Claude got the idea from a boy in the mainland how to make a kite. Back on the island, we made plenty of kites. So, when they returned to the island, they had a great endeavor to make a lot of kites. Claude would go around to the other side of the island and we would play shipwrecked mariners, signaling to each other with kites. When they were successful to make a lot of kites, plenty of kites, they executed it in their, they applied it in their shipwrecked mariners playing of shipwrecked mariners or sailors. Claude would go around to the other side of the island and from there he would send signal with the help of kites and in this way they engaged themselves in playing the shipwrecked mariners game. We had a kite that was big and covered with lovely red paper. In this paragraph, we shall get an idea of the kite which would be the harbinger of the reunion of the lost families, so-called lost families or separated families. During that summer, they had a big kite which was wrapped with lovely red paper. We pasted gold tinsel stars all over it. They decorated the kite with tinsel stars all over it and had written our names full on it. That is, they inscribed their full names on it. Claude Lit and Philippa Lit. Here we know that Philippa is the narrator and Claude was her brother, junior to her by 1 year, and their surname was Lit. It I have also told you about it in my introductory lecture, Big Half Moon Lighthouse. That is, they also wrote their address on the kite. Here we get a new word tinsel. It means strips of shiny material used for decoration. I think all of you are familiar with this thing. Now we are entering the next paragraph, that is the third paragraph. One day there was a grand wind for kite flying, that is, there was a favorable condition for the kite flying, or there was a grand wind, a festive wind in which it was very favorable, or which was very favorable for the kite flying celebration. I am not sure how it happened, but as I was bringing the kite from the house, I tripped and fell over the rocks. There, unknowingly, an incident happened. The narrator, Philippa Lead, was the main character involved in the accident. She was bringing the kite from their house, but on the way she tripped or stumbled, that is, in Bengali we call it hochot khawa, and fell over the rocks, and she fell over the stones prevailing there. My elbow went clear through the kite, making a big hole. You know that some support of the stalks are or bamboo is are used to make a kite. So there is an ample gap between that stick and the paper used to make the kite. When the narrator fell over the rocks, her elbow went clear through the kite and a big hole was created. And you know that it is not possible for a kite to fly in the sky if there is a hole, because the weather would pass through it. The weather would pass through it, and it would become as an obstruction for the kite to fly in the sky. So let us see what would happen after it. Next, let us start the last paragraph of this unit. We had to hurry to fix the kite if we wanted to send it up before the wind fell. It was clear to the characters here, that is Philippa and Claude, that they had the intention to fly the kite before the wind would fall. So they must be quick in order to in repairing the kite. So here the sentence, we had to hurry to fix the kite. Here hurry means prompt, quick, and fix means here maintain or repair. If we wanted to send it up before the wind fell, before the falling of the favorable wind, we had to send it into the sky. We rushed into the lighthouse to get some paper. In order to repair the kite, then and there they required some additional or extra paper. So they rushed to the lighthouse to get it. We knew there was no more red paper. We have already got the information that they used red paper to make the kite. So it would be very convenient for them if they got the same red paper. But it was also evident to them that no red paper remained after the preparation, after the making of the kite. We took the first thing that came handy, that an old letter lying on the bookcase in the sitting room. In the sitting room or in the drawing room there was a bookcase, and there remained an old letter. It was available to the narrator and her brother, so they used it or the letter. We patched the kite up with the letter sheared on its side and dried it by the fire. I have already told you that there was a promptness among within the characters here, that is Philippa and Claude. So they patched the kite with the or using the old letter, a sheet. They attached a sheet on both sides of and dried it by putting it by the fire, near to the fire. We started out, and and up went the kite like a bird. Then they sent the kite into the sky, and it went into the sky like a bird. Or here the narrator makes a simile between the kite and a bird. You know that simile is a figure of speech in which we make direct comparison between two same things. The wind was glorious and it soared. The wind was glorious. That means the wind was very favorable. Um, you know that glory is the noun form and glorious is its adjective form. And can you tell me the verb form of the word glorious? It is glorify. And it soared, and it uh, made its or it rested in the sky like a bird. All at once snap, but on all a sudden there was a snap, that is the um, kite cut from the hand of the character. And here the character is Claude, and there was Claude standing with a bit of cord in his hand. That is, there was a snap in the cord. That's why the kite was no longer in the control of the character Claude. There was only a bit of cord in his hand, looking foolish, and in such a condition Claude looked very stupid. Our kite had sailed away over to the mainland, and when the uh, kite was snapped, it transported itself to the mainland. There is no question from your end, so let us start unit 3. Here the first paragraph. A month later, a letter came for father. After a month of this accident, or it is better to say incident, the narrator's father received a letter. After he finished reading it, his eyes looked as if he had been crying. The narrator's father completed the reading of the received letter, but after it, his eyes, or the narrator's father's eyes, were glistening, or there were tears in his eyes. It seemed to the narrator that her father had been crying. "Do you want to know what became of your kite?" he said. Then, persuasively, the narrator's father wanted to know from the narrator and her brother Claude if they were desirous to know, or if they desired to know, what happened with their kite. Then he sat down beside us and told us the whole story. Then, sitting beside the brother and sister, their father narrated what happened, or narrated to them the entire episode. Father had a brother and a sister. That is, the narrator's father had a brother and sister. That is, they had a family of 3 siblings. He had quarrelled. Here he referred to the narrator's father, quarrelled with his brother and left home. There was a quarrel. I have used the noun form of quarrel with his brother, with the narrator's father's brother, and left home, and with dissentment or discontent, he left home. Years afterward, he felt sorry and he went back. He found his brother had died and he couldn't find his sister. Years afterward, or some years after it happened, that the narrator's father felt repented, or there was the feeling of repentance with the narrator's father, and in order to get relief of the feeling of repentance, she returned home. But to his utter surprise, he found that his brother had died and he could not trace out his sister. The letter father had just received was from his sister Aunt Esther, mother of Dick and Mimi. The very letter which the narrator's father had received just was written by Aunt Esther, who had 2 identities. She was the mother of Dick and Mimi. At the same time, she was also the sister of the narrator's father. So, establish the relationship between the writer of the letter and the narrator. If we were in a physical class or offline class, your answer would be like this, that the relationship between the narrator and the writer of the letter was what? Aunt and niece. So, from here it is clear that Dick and Mimi were the narrator's cousins. She was a widow who lived hundreds of miles inland. That is, the husband of Aunt Esther died. That's why she was not now a widow, and she lived hundreds of, or resided hundreds of miles inland in the mainland. One day when Dick and Mimi were out in the woods, they discovered the kite on the top of a tree and carried it home. Suddenly there another incident happened. Once Dick and Mimi were out in the woods, and they also suddenly found the kite on the top of a tree, and they carried it back home. And I can tell you that this kite was the very kite which snapped from the hand of Claude, the narrator's elder brother. When their mother saw the kite passed with the letter, she turned pale. When their mother, that is Dick's and Mimi's mother, got a chance to see the letter, she could find out, uh, could see the kite, she could find out, or she could discover the letter which she once sent to her brother, that is the narrator's father. She turned pale. She became utterly surprised. That's why the writer used here the word or the phrase "turned pale." It was the very letter she had once written to her brother. I have already discussed it. Philippa was her mother's name and Claude was her father's. That is, Philippa was the name of the narrator's uh, grandmother also, and Claude was his her grandfather's name also. And it is better to say, or we can explain in other language, that the brother and sister Claude and Philippa were named after their grandfather and grandmother respectively. She knew who we must be, that is, it was then clear about the identity of the senders of the kite. So she sat down and wrote two big half moon, and father received her letter. As a consequence, as a result of such discovery, their aunt Esther wrote a letter to the narrator's father, and ultimately his father received her letter or his sister's letter. Next day, father went and brought Aunt Esther and Dick and Mimi with him. The very next day, the narrator's father made a journey to the mainland in order to bring back Aunt Esther, and along with Dick and Mimi with him. They have been here ever since. From then, they are they have been residing with us in the big half moon. Aunt Esther is a dear, and Dick and Mimi are too jolly for words. Aunt Esther is very favorite to the narrator and her brother, and we have also found it in the unit 1 that they were, that is, Claude and Philippa were hankering for having an aunt or uncle. And Dick and Mimi are too jolly for words, and Dick and Mimi are so jolly that they cannot be described with the help of words. But the best of it all is that we have relations now. It was also clear to us that they were in melancholy mood because of the lack of relations. They were astonished, and they pondered over it, that everybody or everyone in the mainland had relations, but they had no. They ever thought whether it was for the incident that they were the residents or inhabitants of an island. Now, that's why they, or the narrator here, applied the importance on the very fact that they have a they have relations now above all. And in the introductory lecture, I mentioned to you that the apparently impossible incident would happen with the help of a kite. So here the kite is the prime mover of the plot in this story, our runaway kite. My dear students, I have completed the explanation of unit 2 and 3, and I hope that you have also completed listening to those audios bearing the explanations. Now I have a little time to spend with you. If you have any question from this unit 2 and 3 or unit 3, you may ask me. I shall stay with you for another 5 minutes. Uh, Please ask if there is any problem with you.